If you've got an agency, but you're stuck at just 2 or 3 clients, or maybe you're just starting out and trying to figure out what to do next, well, you're in the right place. Because in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to grow your agency from 0 to 10K per month, and I'm going to be giving you a proven and profit-producing blueprint to help you do it. I'll show you exactly what you need to do, what order to do it in, and I'll share some insider tips and secrets that I can guarantee are going to help you get there faster than you ever thought possible. Now, in case we're just meeting for the first time, my name is Adam Earhart, and over the last decade, I've had the opportunity to create marketing strategies for some of the biggest names out there, including Google and Meta, Amazon, Adobe, Logitech, and a ton more. I've also built several 7-figure agencies, with my last one hitting 100K a month in just 30 days. And my goal here today is to help you launch and scale your own agency so you can start experiencing consistent and predictable monthly cash flow. Okay, well, hop over to the whiteboard now. Let's dive in. All right, so the very first thing when it comes to growing your agency, especially in those early stages, if you're stuck at just 2 to 3 clients, you're unable to get to the next level, is you've really got to focus in and dial down on your niche right up here. This is by far one of the single most important decisions that you're going to make. Not in that you need to pick the exact perfect niche right out of the gate, but rather the fact that you need to pick one. Pretty much any of them. Now, there's a long list of 7-figure niches. I've got lists of them here on the channel, other things that we can talk about to sort of walk you through them. Plumbing, electricians, HVAC, landscapers, funeral homes, pest control, dentists, chiropractors, gyms. The list is pretty much endless. Essentially, if there is a local service-based business out there, the odds are pretty good that there is a 7-figure agency behind it, which means that you really don't need to spend just a ridiculous amount of time here picking the right niche, but you do have to pick one. And that is by far the most important rule when it comes to niche selection. You get to pick one niche. Not 2, not 3, 4 is right out of the question. If you start making your life more complicated by choosing multiple niches and trying to serve all of them at the same time, you're going to water down your message, you're going to get pulled in too many different directions, and you're just not going to experience the growth that you would be capable of if you just been selective and just picked one to get started with. I promise you, this is probably one of the hardest truth bombs, truth pills to swallow, the fact that you will make more money by doing less for less people. But trust me on this, many a 7-figure agency has gone before you and figured this out. Learn from their example, learn from my example. One of the biggest mistakes I made was not niching down soon enough. As soon as I finally took the advice of people much smarter than I did, everything started to improve, started to make a whole lot more money. Now, the other part of this, what we've got to do here is when we've selected a niche, we've got to go out there and we've got to try to figure out who are going to be our first clients, our ideal kinds of clients. For example, if we're choosing a roofing company, well, are we going after commercial? Are we going after residential? Are we going after them in urban areas, in rural areas? Do we want large companies, small companies? If you have no idea, that's totally okay. There's a ton of ways to figure this out by doing just a little bit of market research, taking a look at some of your competitor agency sites and what they're doing and trying to sort of figure out the angles and the positioning. But regardless, we want to be a little bit clear here about who we're going after. Now, typically, when we're creating marketing campaigns for other companies, one of the worst things that I ever hear is my target market is people with money or everyone or things like that. When it comes to your niche, if you've chosen a niche, I'm going to allow you to use that and say, yes, obviously we need people who are capable of spending money, which means typically we're looking at a business that's doing around 1 mil in revenue per year at least. How do you find these people? Well, if you're using a lead list generator, again, lots of videos, lots of training on the channel on exactly how to do this, basically ways of getting lists of different leads. You're able to put this in, or you're able to put in the number of employees or staff that they have. Around, we'll say 2 to 3 employees is going to be a pretty safe number for a business that's doing around 1 mil a year if they're a local service-based business. And then of course you can just scale that up from there. So that's step 1. You've got to pick a niche. Promise me, if you take nothing else away from this video, you're going to pick a niche and you're going to stick to it for at least the next 30, 60, 90 days, ideally for many, many months to come, because the easiest niche to get success with is the one that you've been working on for a prolonged period of time. But that's step 1. Step 2, now that you know your niche, everything else is going to be built on this. And again, I feel like I'm really beating this point up, but it is that important. Nothing else that we're going to do is going to work if we don't first pick that niche, because all of these other things that we're going to talk about, the problem, the solution, all of the other numbers that you see here on the screen, all of those are directly related to the niche that you choose. So if you pick a different niche, all the other answers that we come up with, all of the other strategies, the pains, the problems, the fears, the frustrations, all of that may not be relevant, which means that we've got to go back to the drawing board. We have to sort of start everything again from the very beginning. And if you're trying to serve multiple niches, well, you don't just have to go through this process once, you've got to do it again and again and again. So let's talk problems. What you want to do here is you want to list out your niche's top 2 to 3 problems. If you decide to go a little bit further, hit 5, by all means, go for it. But I want at least 2 to 3 problems here. Why do we want this? Because everything that we're going to be offering, every solution that we're going to be providing, every message that we're going to use is going to be framed in context to the problems that we're helping them overcome. We can't offer a solution to someone that doesn't have a problem. And we can't offer a generic solution to someone for all of their problems because they just won't seem that important. So we've got to figure out what these problems really are. And ideally, we need to be specific to the context of the business. Let me unpack that for a second. Essentially, a problem that pretty much every local small business has: lack of leads, the leads aren't good enough quality, lack of sales, lack of growth, marketing isn't working. We could go on, but that'll do. Now, we could just say we'll get you more leads, but ideally, if we figured out that it's a roofer, well, maybe they want more of a certain kind of roofing contract or repair. If it's a plumber, maybe they want to promote their 24/7 plumbing service, or maybe they're doing bathroom renovations or remodels. If it's a landscaper, maybe they're looking for high-end clients to do lawn work or garden things. Clearly, I'm an expert in all things garden. But this is why we need to be specific with the message that we're using. So we're not just like, we're going to get you more leads and customers and sales, which is super generic, but we're going to be able to, look, we're going to get you more solar panel installations in prime residential areas. We're going to be able to get you more emergency plumbing callouts, so you can take over that part of the market. We're going to help you expand your operation into new territories by allowing you to add another truck to your food truck business. Whatever it is, it's going to be specific to the business. Also, we want to make sure that we are looking at some of the competitors in the space in regards to making sure that we're figuring out how our offer is going to be differentiated from them. So, how are your competitors solving these problems? Again, let's use plumbing as an example. If you go to Google and you type in plumbing marketing agencies, you're going to see a number of competitors show up there. You should open their pages. You should look at what they're saying. You should look at the words they're using, the promises they're making, the services they're offering. Now, bit of a side note between you and me, most agencies are offering far too many things, most of which don't make them any money or their customers don't care about. So don't typically use that as a good example to base your business off of. However, from a very holistic, high-level overview, we're at least going to be able to see what kind of offers they're making, what kind of message they're using, and we're going to want to use this as reference, as inspiration, as an idea to model your agency after. All right, let's keep moving. The solution. A possible solution for each problem. So, what could you do that would help them overcome the problem that they have? If we go back to basic generic, say, we don't have enough leads, well, we could introduce a lead gen strategy, maybe through Google ads or Facebook ads or SEO. If the leads are really bad quality, we could introduce a funnel that would pre-qualify and segment and allow them to be sort of indoctrinated into the business so that you're only putting through the highest quality leads possible when you're delivering them to a client. If they're getting low website traffic, we could introduce search engine optimization. We could work on their Google business profile, build more rankings. If they're getting terrible reviews on Google, we could offer reputation management, most of which, if not all of this, can be completely automated with software, which again makes things a whole lot easier for you. But regardless, we need the corresponding 2 to 3 solutions for each of the problems. And often you can just invert this, being, we don't have enough leads, we'll get you more leads. Our website isn't ranking, we'll rank your website. I appreciate that sounds ridiculously simple, but often it is. Often it is. Okay, now that we've got that, we need to jump down here, revenue structure, because now we know the niche that you're working with. We know the problems that they have. We know the solutions that we're going to be able to potentially offer to overcome those problems. Well, now we need to start going right down here because we've got to figure out what are the services and packages that we're going to put together in regards to helping them actually achieve these goals. I'll make sure that one stays in that little bucket there. So list your services, list your packages, list your prices. If you're offering custom quotes and proposals and requiring in-depth analysis before working with any client, you're making your life too complicated. You're making it harder on yourself, and you're also making it harder on your clients. I appreciate there is no necessarily one-size-fits-all solution for everyone, but you should at the very least have some pretty standard packages that you're going to be able to go out there and put in front of a client so that they're able to make a decision rather than constantly having to guess and figure this out and that out and whatever it is, and you trying to piece that thing together. And custom work is the devil. You don't want to be doing custom work. You can get away with doing custom stuff for 1 or 2 clients, but you can't with 20. You certainly can't with 30. And if you want 50 clients or you want to scale your agency to 100K a month, eventually, it's just completely right out of the window. You've got to stick with these productized services. A few simple packages that say $1,500 a month, $2,500 a month, maybe $4,000 a month, where they're offering Google ads with a landing page, or offering Facebook ads and a lead gen instant form follow-up that sends them to an SMS. You could offer SEO. You could offer a website with SEO, whatever it is. Just make sure that your packages are spelled out so that they're more clear and they're easier to decide for your clients. All right, carrying on. How do you sell these things though, right? Now we've got these niche, we've got our problems, we know their solutions, we've got some packages put together. Now we've got to go out there and actually show them that you are the right one for the job, especially compared to all of the competitors and other options they have out there. And this is where this magic pill really comes into play, right at the top there. So a single, clear, compelling message that states why you're different and why you're worth working with. Now, in the past, we've used the formula, we help X with Y so you can Z without W. Essentially, what this is meaning is like, we'll help X with this problem to help you achieve this benefit without all these things that you hate. That alone is a fairly straightforward, unique selling proposition, a unique value proposition, but we do want to juice it up a little bit. And the way we do that is with a signature system. So anything that you're going to do in the agency world is going to be done through a series of steps. Let's take SEO, for example. Client comes to you and they're like, I want to rank higher on Google. Cool. First things first, you've got to figure out where their website is currently at. So you're going to probably do some kind of website audit. And then you've got to do a little bit of competitor research because, well, it's a zero-sum game. You can only have one number 1 ranking, one number 2, one number 3. So you've got to figure out where the competitors are at. Probably have to build up a bit of a resource of what are the backlinks, what are the domain authorities, what are the page authorities, all this fancy, nerdy, geeky stuff we do with SEO. Then you've got to figure out a strategy of, all right, well, if competitor A has 100 links and my client only has 50 links, I need 50 more links. We need this content. So we put together this process. Well, that process is your signature system. Now, simply having that alone is going to do just an absolute wonder for your sales. By going into your sales calls or trying to attract clients and having a system that you can reference and that you use, which you already have, you probably just need to document and write it down. That's a great start. If you want to take it to the next level, we can put some kind of a name on it. Give it a method or a process. Call it a matrix or a guide or a blueprint or whatever it is, something that solidifies that piece of intellectual property as yours. All right, moving on. Channels. We've got to list the path to client. This is where we're going to create your marketing funnel. What does that path look like from somebody having absolutely no idea who you are, going all the way through to becoming a lifelong loyal customer and client for your agency? That's what we've got to figure out. So where are you going to be getting this traffic? Are you going to be running paid ads? Are you going to be doing cold outreach? Are you going to be doing organic marketing? Are you going to be doing cold calling or cold email? Are you going to send DMs? Whatever it is, you want to map that out. You want to map out where you're going to reach them. You want to map out what you're going to say. You want to map out what you're going to say when they ignore you, which most people are going to ignore you on the first touch. Bit of a side note here, but it's typically going to take around 4 to 5 follow-ups in order to get someone to respond positively. Then when they respond positively, what are you going to do to make your presentation, to get them on the phone? What are you going to say on the call? There's a lot that goes into it, I appreciate, but it is incredibly important because you don't want to be sitting there one day and having a client just call you out of the blue and having no idea how you're actually going to go through the process of onboarding them, collecting payment, working them through your system. Again, we teach all of this inside of the Agency Accelerator program, so I will put a link to that down in the descriptions below if you're interested in learning how we help agency owners scale to 6 and 7 figures. But regardless, you need a process in order to facilitate this ease of sale and client acquisition. All right, so where are they going to go? After that, then we move on to 7, which is the key metrics. List the metrics so you know how you're doing. In other words, what are you trying to achieve? How are you going to measure it? How can you look back and be like, yeah, that worked. We were successful. So for example, number of clients is a really great place to start. So is revenue. So is things that you have control over. We call these process goals, like the number of outreach that you're going to do, the amount of content that you're going to make, the amount of calls you're going to make or emails you're going to send or DMs you're going to send, the amount of follow-ups you're going to do. All of these are important metrics. We track these in something called a logbook so that we're able to see where things are going. And the beauty of this is if you make 100 outreach like this and you make 20 calls like that and you send this many DMs, you're going to get a specific result. And the beauty of especially something like, say, outreach, where we're doing cold call, cold email, cold DMs, things like that, is that they scale linearly, meaning the more you do, the better results you get in direct proportion. So if you make 100 calls and you get 1 client, well, if you make 200 calls, you're going to get 2 clients. 300 calls, you're going to get 3 clients. 400 calls, 4 clients. Unlike something like paid advertising, which has sometimes exponential returns, sometimes diminishing returns, there's algorithms, there's all kinds of things that can often get in the way. So we need to track those numbers. Once we've got those numbers, now we can move down here. Outline your retention and referral plan. Essentially, once you've got a client, what are you going to do to retain them? Because this is by far one of the most powerful ways to scale your revenue is to simply reduce your churn. So if a client comes on and then they leave you in 30 days, you've got to go out there and get an entirely new client. It is significantly easier to simply over-deliver for the clients that you already have so that they'll stay longer. And that way you're going to be able to make 6 times more, 10 times more, 24 times more. I've got agency clients that have been with me for 6, 7 years sometimes because we just continue to deliver the results that they're looking for. Now, one of the best pieces of advice that I can offer you is in the early stages of getting that first client, make sure to over-communicate. Spend more time than you think is necessary to show them exactly what you're doing, the amount of work that you're doing, the results that you're getting, the funnels that you're building, the ads that you're creating, the links that you're building. All of this is incredibly important because your clients likely have a very limited understanding of marketing and also a very limited understanding of what is this marketing dude actually doing for my business. So you want to show them, you want to show, hey, this week we did this, now we're doing this, next week we're launching this, and it just keeps them interested and engaged in the process. And on the contrary, a lot of people think, well, if I over communicate, aren't they going to get angry and then they'll remember they're paying me and then fire me? Doesn't work like that at all. You want to over communicate so that you show them what you're doing. It's going to be a breath of fresh air, especially for any client who's worked with a marketing agency before, because 99% of them under communicate, which means they pay the agency some money, they disappear, they don't get results. It's a bad system. We can do better. All right. And then that leads us to the unfair advantage, which this part's private. This is not something that you're going to announce. This is not something that you're going to broadcast on your agency page. It's not something you're going to talk to clients, but it's something that you're going to know internally, and it's going to enable you to create a bit of a moat around your business that's going to make you untouchable by the competition. So what is this thing? Well, this is something that you're going to have that other people can't, which means that we can't simply buy it. We can't create it out of nothing. It's something that you probably already have. Maybe you're incredibly analytical. Maybe you're really creative. Maybe you're extremely extroverted and love talking to everyone. Maybe you're really introverted and you double down on the numbers. Whatever it is, there's going to be some kind of positioning that you're going to be able to do with your marketing agency that the competitors simply aren't going to be able to copy. Now, I don't expect you to know this right out of the gate, especially if you're struggling with just a couple clients or if you're just getting started, but I want you to keep your eyes open, keep your mind sort of in tune for when this presents itself, because it will. Typically around the 5 to 10 client mark, you're going to start to realize things about yourself and about your strengths that other people don't necessarily do, and you're going to want to double down on that so that you're going to be able to increase the results, increase your client satisfaction, get new clients, and it creates kind of a flywheel like that to help you get to the next level even faster. And like I mentioned before, if you're interested in learning how we help agency owners grow to 6 and 7 figures, I'll put that link down in the descriptions below this video. And for even more strategies to help you get more agency clients and grow your revenue even faster, linked up a video right here. And all you got to do is tap or click that now. We'll see you in there in just a second.